Okay, we are now ready to start. Good evening and welcome to the Brookfield Zoning Commission's regular meeting. Today is October 26, 2023. Time is 7 p.m. This meeting is being held in Town Hall Room number 133. At this time, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. And next is my favorite part of the meeting, for each member to please introduce themselves, starting with my far left. I think that's Mr. Timmerman down there.
Kurt Timmerman, alternate.
Darrell Pratt, regular member.
Andrew Kame, secretary.
Gary Getz, chairman.
Chandra Kumar, vice chairman.
Phoebe Holmes, regular member.
Gwen Arment, alternate.
Thank you. Next item up, number 2, is enforcement. The zoning enforcement officer's report is tabled at this time. Mr. Lally is at Casio, and he'll be returning on Monday, so we'll table that item. Next item, number 3, review correspondence. There is none at this time. Number 4, review the minutes of our previous meeting from October 12th, 2023. I think everyone has the minutes in their packet. If there are any questions or comments or concerns, please state them. Anyone? Hearing none at this time, the chair is happy to entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Kame, seconded by Mr. Pratt to approve the minutes. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed by nay. Are there any abstentions? There are none. Motion carries. The minutes are approved as submitted. Next item up, number 5, continued public hearings. A, 854 Federal Road, Z-23-51, Emily Mitchell of AR Building Company, 310 Seven Fields Boulevard, Suite 350, Seven Fields, Pennsylvania, for Edward and Kathleen McCarty, 226 Great Neck Road, Waterford, Connecticut. Proposed text amendment regarding Article 5.1, design flexibility in the TCD zone. We had a public hearing set for October 12th, but it had been continued at the request of the applicant. And I think at this time, the applicant has asked for another continuation to our November 9th meeting due to some scheduling conflict and also needing an opinion from the Planning Commission. Is there anyone that would like to make a motion to table this item or anything else at this time?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to table this item, or I'm assuming that means continue it till the next meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
We have a motion to continue this item until November 9th. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Comer has seconded it. Is there any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'm just concerned, I know we have a 65-day window, and I'm just concerned where we are with the timing. I was hoping that the land use director might be able to give us a little guidance on that time frame.
So once the public hearing opens, they have 35 days. We also have a 65 continuation window as long as they grant us the continuance. Then once the public hearing is closed, we'll have another 65 days to deliberate. So we're fine at the moment because the public hearing did not open, it only opened on October 12th. So we're still well within our time frame.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion to continue this, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed by nay. Are there any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion carries. This item is continued for a public hearing for November 9th. Next item up, number 6, public hearings. There are none at this time. Item number 7, old business. Draft regulation change, cannabis sales and distribution, amended draft, Would you like to speak to that, Mr. Timmerman, at this time?
Sure. I added the changes that we discussed last time, plus, there's one I missed. I had not added, and I added that, under 44M cannabis establishments, I totally overlooked not putting medical marijuana dispensaries. So that was number 3 after production facilities and recreational. I added 3 medical marijuana dispensary. Because we talk about them, but had not added that on the list. It's in the table, but and that was it. So to reiterate, added the rationale to provide cannabis regulations for the town of Brookfield. Added more zones, all the commercial zones basically, except for the marine commercial and the TCD for both 6I medical marijuana dispensaries and retail, and the other one was 9G marijuana cannabis production facility. So they're all special permits. And that was the changes, that's it, from last time.
Thank you for that yeoman work, Mr. Timmerman.
You're welcome.
Is there any other discussion at
Mr.
this time?
Mr. Chair.
Kane?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate all the work that Commissioner Timmerman has done, and I think we're in very good shape at this point. However, I believe, and I think I was maybe me that suggested that Commissioner Timmerman do it, but I believe the land use director has to review the regulations, and I think also the town attorney should review the regulations before we move it on to a public hearing. So that would be my recommendation. I think we're in very good shape at this point and progressing far better actually than I thought we would be. But I would like to have a legal review. And
Well, now that you mention it, yeah, that's a good point, and maybe we were getting a little bit ahead of ourselves with our enthusiasm and so much talent here. But we don't mean to slight our land use director. We don't want to overwork her either, but it probably is certainly appropriate that, if you don't mind,
Absolutely.
we include you in these matters.
I appreciate that, Mr. Chair. I will absolutely look it over and make sure it gets to legal counsel as well, just for the final review. Make sure there's nothing glaring missing that we've happened to overlook.
that would be appreciated. Thank you.
Any other discussion at this time, aside from saying that, again, we're making progress? And I think, as a yardstick, I would say that we want to get this right, though, rather than fast. So we certainly appreciate everyone's input and consideration, but I don't think we need to move hastily. Did you want to say something, Mrs. Holmes?
I did, thank you. I had a question for Mr. Timmerman. Did we want to add zones for retail, possible zones, like?
Already, we did
Oh,
that.
we did, all right.
So that's, all the zones under 6I include dispensaries and retail.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
And since I'm
But
still,
in commercial zones only?
yeah, they're all in commercial, every zone except, all commercial zones except for MC and TCD.
Great, thank you.
And I just want to sort of talk about, now that I think about it, you know, how close you have to be from other establishments that you shouldn't be close to. And that's the one that says under 44A, adult-oriented businesses. No such adult-oriented business may be located within 500 feet of any residential structures, and a bunch of other ones. You can think of it looking at the other way. Any of those areas, you can take a 500-foot line around their borders of their property, and those are the no-go zones. So wherever you want to place one of these, whether it's production, medical, or retail, it can't be, it can't touch any of those no-go zones that extend 500 feet out from any of the things on the list, including other things like it. Can't have 2 medical marijuana things, can't have it next to a liquor store, can't be a daycare, or any of those things. So that's a different way of looking at it. If you looked at a map and just drew an extra 500-foot line around all these residential zones and other places then you can see, okay, it narrows down where it is actually possible to place some of these things.
Thank you.
Sure.
Question.
Thank you all. Yes,
Mr.
Ms.
Chairman.
Sarment.
Do we really want in a neighborhood zone?
It's not in a neighborhood
Well,
zone.
neighborhood commercial.
Well, you might be talking about the C2 zone.
Yes.
That's just a nomenclature to indicate that it's a smaller sort of businesses, not a bigger ones. Where, you know, the local residents would probably visit those more than the big box stores and the bigger regional commercial.
Well,
That's-
we have a little commercial near us. And that concerns me that something could go right in there.
Not if it's within 500 feet
Of what?
That,
of any residential zone or any liquor store. If there's,
Yeah.
I know there's a liquor store up near you.
Yeah.
It can't go within 500 feet of that, or any church, or anything else on that list. It's got to stay away from everything else. It's got to be spaced out.
So if there's a little neighborhood commercial that has no liquor store
Yeah.
or
well, you have to
church
be-
or
if-
anything, school?
If it's a zone, a commercial zone. There are certainly commercial enterprises in residential zones that have been grandfathered. That's different. That's not what this is. It's got to be in an actual commercial zone. And I don't know if they're, aside from MC, which is not allowed in, for example, up by the Candlewood Lake Club, I think that's where you're situated.
Yes.
There's no commercial up there, as far as I can tell.
yeah, I believe that's
So,
Yeah.
strictly
Zoning
marine
rep is right
commercial.
behind him.
Yeah,
I was
just marine
wondering,
commercial.
yeah.
It's not allowed there.
okay, so what, could you give me an example of a neighborhood commercial?
Well, I mean, if you're talking about the C1 zone, that's like from Costco north to the bottom of, where is it?
Oh, C2, I'm sorry.
Oh, C2, I'm sorry. Yeah, C2 is like from Costco or Costco up to the bottom of the, let's see, what does that say? Meadowview Drive. That's C2 zone. And 500 feet, in fact, some of those areas aren't even 500 feet wide, so you couldn't even put it there, the zone, because you're right next to residential. So a lot of those are not allowed because they're not deep enough. Because that's what that buffer does for you. It disallows these, even liquor stores, from being in that area. Because it's too narrow.
Anyone else? Mr. Kame, you wanted to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that, follow up, you know, I know I understand it's been stated, but I think it's bears repeating again, that there's a special permit required for these. So it's not just a, you know, we get to take a fairly hard look at this. But I did have one other question I'd like to ask. I think last time we talked about some folks are gonna try to provide, information regarding the revenue sharing on these types of recreational cannabis places with the state of Connecticut. I didn't know if there was any information forthcoming on that.
I haven't received any. Were you looking into that, Mrs. Holmes?
I have no updates. I stopped by, the new cannabis shop, Butter, last week. And I just, well, there's obviously not gonna be any data on that one yet. It's too new, but I think we need to wait a while. Until tax time, probably until April. Tax season, to figure that out.
We'll probably be acting on this before then, though, I would think.
Well, I've taken a look myself. I haven't been able to find any information on that. In fact, I don't even know if the state is actually sharing the revenue at this point in time. So, you know, I'll take a second look, but, again, my thrust here is, you know, if folks are voting on, or in favor of it because they think it's gonna be some sort of economic boon, I haven't seen any information to indicate that. I'm not saying it may not be in the future, but judging from what I've seen in other states, a lot of these things open up and then a lot of these things close. So, because it's just, believe it or not, it's a fairly limited market for this type of investment. So, But I think at this point in time, we could just table that issue and move ahead with the review of the document.
At this time, then, the chair is happy to entertain a motion that we continue to table and discuss this, but also that we're seeking out the guidance and input from our land use director, Ms. Barkowski, and also post that to also refer it to our town attorney to review. Is that a motion that we could entertain at this time?
I believe so, and so moved.
Okay, Mr. Kame has made a motion, seconded by Mr. Pratt. Is there any discussion on the motion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion, please do signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Are there any abstentions? The motion carries. We will continue to study this subject. Thank you all, and again, thank you, Mr. Timmerman. Next, item number 8, new business. A, 2 Bonnie Road, Z-23-56, Gina Medina, special permit with design review for 634 square foot accessory apartment per section 3.16. Public hearing can be set for November 9th, 2023. Do we have a motion for that? Or is there any other discussion regarding this?
I make a motion to set a public hearing for 2 Bonnie Road, Z-23-56 for November 9th, 2023.
Thank you. Mrs. Holmes has made a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Comer has seconded the motion. Is there any discussion on that motion?
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman,
Kane.
I'm all in favor of the public hearing being set, but I'm just concerned that we have 3 public hearings scheduled for November 9th. So that's my concern. And is that gonna be okay with our schedule, is what I guess is my question.
Two of these look short. I mean, accessory apartments, kind of.
So is your concern that it'll take a lot of time?
Yeah, I'm hoping they'll be short and quick.
You always don't know, though, right? Well, do you have a recommendation, or are you just sharing your concern? Or do you
Well,
wanna
I
wait?
think if we do have it next, if we do continue these, if we do both approve both of these for November 9th, and I realize we're only discussing the first one here, then I would suggest that we move, if we can, the new business, these 2 ones should go quickly, move that ahead of the previously discussed continued public hearing, get these out of the way, and then move on to the continued public hearing. It's just a scheduling change, I think.
So were you talking about changing their situation on the agenda?
Yeah,
For
for
the
next
9th?
time, yeah, I think,
Okay.
yeah.
I guess we could do that. We always have the ability to rearrange the agenda.
Yeah, if the item in under 5A, takes a bit of time and it, gets protracted, then I would hate to see these 2 folks,
Yes.
hanging around for something that can be done pretty quickly. And I agree with Commissioner Holmes that it should be pretty quick.
Mr. Holmes?
Commissioner Holmes.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Getting old. Any other discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Are there any abstentions? The motion to set the hearing for Z-23-56 for November 9th carries. Next item up, B, 120 Obtuse Hill, Z-23-62. Carl Squitieri for Acacia Capuano, special permit with design review for a 700 square foot accessory apartment per section 3.16. Likewise, the public hearing can be set for November 9th. Do we have a motion to that effect?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we set a public hearing for zoning application Z-23-62 for November 9th, 2023.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Pratt has seconded Mr. Kane's motion. Is there any discussion on this motion?
On my own, I'm out of order here, and please let me know if I am. Did this gentleman appear recently before us for another permit?
I don't know.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure.
I'd have to check myself.
Okay.
I don't remember that name.
Something to the last.
Okay. Any other discussion? Seeing none and hearing none, I would ask that we call this question then, and all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Are there any abstentions? Thank you, that motion carries as well. Next item, 8C, review and approval of draft 2024 commission meeting calendar. Is it that time already? And I think it's in our packet. We got a calendar here. If I may take a privilege, I would say that I think there was a typo for March. I think that the date should be March 7th and March 21st because the dates there are Friday, so I spoke with Amy and I think that sometimes February and March, they mirror each other, but not this upcoming year. So I would suggest those, and I guess while I'm at it, we traditionally only have one meeting in July and one in August, so I would recommend that we omit July 25th and August 22nd. And then similarly, omit November 28th because it is Thanksgiving Day, and then December 26th because it's the day after Christmas. And that's kind of in keeping with what we traditionally do. But that's just my 2 cents. Anyone else has anything to say, please do so.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I agree with you. You know, holiday attendance here would probably be not very
Unless they're serving
not very
turkey
heavy.
here, I'm not coming on.
Sounds good to me.
So are you looking for a motion, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Well, I would make a motion that we approve the calendar with the changes that you indicated, that being correcting the dates in March, and correcting and eliminating July 25th, and eliminating August 22nd, and eliminating November 28th due to Thanksgiving, and eliminating December 26th due to the fact that it's the day after Christmas.
Thank you, Mr. Kim. Is there any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please do.
Is there a second to that? I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. Is there a second? I didn't
Second.
catch. Okay.
Mr. Komar.
I'm sorry, I did not hear you.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't say it before.
Thank you, Mr. Komar. Thank you, Ms. Barkowski. Okay, we have a second. Is there any other discussion on the motion? And then hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, nay. Are there any abstentions? That motion carries. Thank you to Amy for putting that together. Next item is number 9, tabled items. A, revision of zoning fee schedule, land use director. And I know that this has been something we've been looking at for a while. And I think where we left off, we were gonna give it one more look, and I think maybe Ms. Barkowski was gonna polish it up a little bit, but I don't know if you've had a chance yet to
Did not.
do that.
Unfortunately, I did not have much chance to work on it since your last meeting. I've kind of stuck on the whole design review and trying to find the history of it for the design review fee schedule. I did speak with Greg Dembowski about this, and he wasn't certain on where that fee schedule came in, but did advise me that there was a design review board or something of a similar name at a previous time, and this could be a carryover. So until I get that 100% clarified, I would like to just kind of continue tabling this for the moment. I'm hoping I'll have an answer for you by your next meeting.
Thank you very much, and again, I think we want to do it right rather than fast, so we appreciate all the progress you've made in such a short period of time. Welcome. Next up, commissioner comments and informal discussion, item 10. It's my second favorite part of the meeting. Anyone have any informal discussion? Well, one thing I would say then, I don't know if anybody knew this, but they officially opened up the southern section of Route 7 in Brookfield for
Yeah.
this new traffic plan. The sidewalks are in,
Great.
roads are paved and painted, and it's quite a thing.
Although it's a state road, I think we should take full credit for it.
Hydro seeding too today.
Well, we had the name of Greg Dembowski mentioned. I mean, he played a major part, even though
Oh,
he's
yeah.
not a state employee, but he was the one he was getting all the complaints, I could tell you that.
Question, why wasn't our board invited to that? The planning commission was invited to a luncheon and a ceremony, and I
Lunch?
would have loved to have gone.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know.
In our zoning, oh,
I-
in the papers had land use commissions were invited to this, but did you guys get invited to
I,
that?
I
I
did
got
not.
invited.
I did not.
You did?
Yes.
Okay.
It may
But I
only
didn't
have
see
been
anybody
chairman.
else there.
Did you
I don't
go?
think the whole land use commission was there, but there were a few people. It was a nice time. I will say that Chick-fil-A is really good at organizing and doing things. And they gave us a chicken sandwich, but, you
Yeah.
know, it was not particularly elaborate, but it was much
That's
appreciated.
nice. Good, okay.
Well, they're the main reason for having all this done anyway.
Right, it's true.
Well, I remarked at the time that, you know, that they would talk about the main goal was to reduce accidents and have safety, but then secondary, more efficient travel on the roads. But that intersection in front of Chick-fil-A and ShopRite was the scene of many accidents.
Oh,
with
yeah.
People trying to make that left turn into Chick-fil-A and then other people trying to pass them on the right. And so that's hopefully resolved now.
Yeah,
Well, the one in front of McDonald's is not too great either.
no.
Well, one thing I learned at that event, which was just yesterday, is that that Chick-fil-A has the biggest dollar figure for the entire nation for drive-through at Chick-fil-A.
Wow.
We love chicken.
A lot of traffic, right? Any other discussion?
Yeah, I did have one concern here. As some folks may know, that November 7th is an election. And some people are filling in, some people were appointed and are filling in for elected members, and other people are, I think we have 2 commissioners that are doing that. So my question is, I know the dates have changed a couple of times on the page there. Some have said November 7th, some have said February something or other. So my question is, can you follow up and see what our, you know, how this is gonna work in terms of transitioning? If somebody comes in and they take effect, you know, at the next meeting, that's great. If they're not, I'm not sure when they actually get sworn in and when they actually become effective, if it's not until December. And then the other question I have is, what happens to the folks who have been appointed? Do they come off as a regular member and just complete their term as a appointee? Because their original appointee term was for longer than, from the,
I will certainly follow up with it in more detail, but it is my understanding that, for example, your term, as of November 7th, your term is up because
No,
it is.
December 7th.
No, November 7th for his term. I believe Commissioner Holmes is December 7th.
right, I understand that, but I was originally an appointee for a period of longer than that. And I understand that you would no longer take the place of an elected official, but you were an appointed person.
Oh,
So,
That might be a typo, because you were finishing someone else's term.
right, and
So how
I,
it was explained to me today, because this is not my expertise, is that if you're filling in an appointed position, there's a certain set time that sets a different trigger. It either is until the next election, or it is to finish the term.
right, because correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Commissioner Holmes was an appointee who was filling in for somebody who was elected.
I did not win my seat, but we needed a Democrat on the board, and then I was appointed to the Dem seat because our Dem who won this seat went to the Board of Finance. So,
So that
to keep a
might-
Dem in the seat, I was appointed by my committee.
Wasn't there a candidate named Jennifer Kramer who actually got the most votes? Who ran for the zoning commission?
I think it was Mary Capella.
Mary Capello was on the board or the commission, but during the election, I think
See, because
there were
that's,
3 people.
that's
and
my, I have no
That
problem with
person
whatever the
never
rules
was
are. I'm
on
just
the
saying that
board.
this
I don't
appears to
know.
be a similar situation.
Absolutely, and it was brought to my attention today, and I'm trying to straighten it out a little bit better so I understand, but might get the
Is it-
blank answer I got
Yeah.
was with
'Cause-
particular to your seat, that it was going to be up, and as of the next day, that person who was appointed to, or who was elected in this position could start the next day. The rest of the people who are elected in have to wait till that December date to get sworn in and start.
See, that doesn't make any sense to me because both people that originally, I think Commissioner Holmes and I had a February 26th date when we were appointees. Then I think mine changed to November, it was that way for a long time. Then it changed to November 7th. Then recently,
I've been
Commissioner,
serving on the board too, prior to the appointment of the actual seat to be a voting member. I was serving a
Right.
different term as an alternate. So I've been serving on the board before even I was stuck into this seat that I'm in.
Right,
Okay.
as was I, by the way. I was
That's right.
serving as an alternate.
That
He
is,
So
was-
again, the situations to me
So-
seem exactly similar,
I
so,
don't know.
so I can, definitely, that is a town clerk question, and I can bring it up with the town clerk's office.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you could get
for
it to-
a little bit more clarification.
yeah, and if you could just, not that I distressed you, but if we could just get the site, I think there's some state regulation must cover this, the bumping rules, so to speak.
Absolutely, I would certainly.
Because my understanding was you served until the other person came in, then you no longer were on it. In other words, if that person, for whatever reason, couldn't be sworn in until December, then they would have to be sworn in December and take effect then. You would stay until they came in. I don't know, but again, that's,
I will most certainly look into it again, because I don't have a hard
Okay.
and fast answer. It was just a quick answer, because it was brought up, and I looked and I realized your date was also gonna be up, and this would be your last meeting, so.
But that's a great suggestion, because that's what will control this, is right, whatever the statute says. So
right.
It would
Absolutely.
be helpful for future reference
And
as
I think,
well.
and I think the whole concern here is, that the board be fully staffed at all times, so.
Absolutely.
I wonder if
Mr.
that has
Timmerman.
something to do with 2-year versus 4-year, because there's a 2-year
Yeah,
seat
believe-
too.
That
I
might-
confess to being a little
I might be explaining
confused
this
by-
poorly too, because it's secondhand, so let me get the
Also,
actual statute.
There is the, just to throw this in there, there's the question on the ballot, which is, do you wanna combine the planning and zoning commission? So everything
that won't
might
take effect right
change.
away.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think that.
That's a good point. I think that takes effect the following
Following
election.
year, is my understanding. So,
But Chandra, are you a 2-year?
2-year, yeah.
2-year.
There you go.
My homework is.
Clear as
done.
mud, right?
Mr. Chair?
Thank you.
Screw it up a
Mr.
little
Pratt?
more. Yeah, just to screw it up a little more, I'm gonna be away that week, so, for the November 9th, the next meeting we have, so
Oh, okay.
heads up, so,
Well, you want us to zoom you in, or?
if you could, no, I'll be in Boston. I'll do that if you need to.
Absolutely not, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well,
work,
just
so it's
by
not-
some of
it's
this
not vacation.
discussion, this kind of reinforces that maybe we need to take a breath, because we may be on the cusp of a lot of changes, coming up in a short period
We
of
got
time.
a bunch of stuff scheduled
And-
for the
Yeah,
November.
this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be my next question. You may
point.
want to consider
Republic.
postponing the November 9th meeting, and, until a week or so. Give yourself a little more
That's a
time.
good idea.
See, the problem with that is you already have an open public hearing.
Okay.
Yeah, the clock is already kind of.
The clock has
ticking,
already
right?
started ticking, and also we've set it to the next regular meeting, which is already now the November 9th meeting. Which you can always table any items, of course, and with the applicant's consent, we can also push anything back. And if we can't accomplish everything that's on the agenda, most certainly you can keep the public hearing open until the next meeting, so all the business can be handled.
Thank you for that. That's
Yeah.
So,
good advice. Any other discussion? Okay, thank you all. Next item is number 11, adjournment. Anyone want to make a motion to adjourn? Mr. Kane,
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
second.
that.
Mr. Pratt seconded it. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Any abstentions? Hearing none. The meeting is adjourned. Our next regular meeting is November 9th.
I-
Thank you all very much.
I've noticed that